The podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off.
Feelings don't matter, so brace yourself tight. He'll lay it down heavy, he'll light up the night. No sugar-coated tales, just cold hard facts. In the realm of opinions, there's no turning back. Listen closer, just walk away. But Aaron had to say it, come what may. Here comes Aaron with the truth untold. No holding back, watch the truth unfold. On the podcast, airways feel the righteous sting. You either take it in or let the silence ring.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. So we're going to start out as we do by saying to Iceman, Jason, Javier, Fitz McShane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morte, to the guys from the Weather Report, to Billy G, to Walt from the B-Raw Podcast, to Kate, the Duchess of New Jersey, to Boomer Bob, and to George Fonts of the World of Blaze Podcast. Thank you guys for the continued support. It means the world to me. You guys are better, smarter, and more fun to be around than your average motherfucker, and I appreciate you. And yeah, if you want to be included with this list of awesome names, go to buymeacoffee.com/I had to say it, or else go to patreon.com/I had to say it podcast. Sign up, support the show, or you can just go to I had to say it podcast.com, click on the tab that says like give me money or something. I forgot. I changed it. I was dicking around with the webpage and I forgot what I changed to. It says something about giving me money. Go there, click that. I don't give you money advice. You give me dollars and I get happy. Or you can click on the merch tab and go over to horribledesigns.com, and that will take you to buy the Horrible Designs merch. That is quality merch, shitty designs. Doodle slap anything on a product. It's his whole shtick. But great person to deal with, great person to work with, good guy in general. So yeah, that's the opening spiel. Yay, Aaron. Okay, so it is now Monday, and no, Bob, you're not listening to 2 times speed. I actually talk that fast when I'm really kind of fired up, and I'm not actually really fired up. I am fairly calm, but I did just take a nap, so fuck yeah. I got a little gas in the tank right now. I don't usually get to take a nap. Usually I'm coming straight from work, but I did take today off, had a day of recuperation because I went to a show last night and wanted to not have to go to work this morning, so I didn't. Excuse me. Anyway, yeah, so one of the things about the show I had to go to this weekend, or I shouldn't say I had to, I got to go to. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I did something I wanted to do. And it was very enjoyable for me. I had a good time, but the thing that I didn't really enjoy about it was the fact that I had to go to Chicago. Now I understand, Aaron, you live outside of Chicago, but you live close enough to Chicago. That's the major metropolitan area in the place you want to go. And if you want to see national acts, you're going to have to go to Chicago to see them. And yeah, that's 100% accurate. It's the nature of the beast. I have to go to Chicago if I want to go see a show. It doesn't matter if it's music or entertainment or comedy or any of that other shit. That's the case. And that's part of what I'm going to talk about tonight. And of course, the general bitching about the state of the world and the hypocrisy and the retarded and everything else that I'm having to deal with. And I'm sure all of you are having to deal with it too, because apparently that's why you guys come here, because you like to hear me call people abusive names in the interest of, being funny, haha, but also saying things that are, truths that need to be spoken, because that's my whole shtick is speaking truth. And can't really say truth to power because I'm pretty sure power doesn't realize it exists, other than possibly Pritzker, because I'm still kind of shady on this whole audit thing. I submitted all my paperwork to the state. I haven't heard back from them since. No, Cody, I did not get shot, even though I was in Chicago. I was in part of the area that's more heavily patrolled because it's very high commerce, and where the theater was the northeast part of Chicago, where it's right on the lakeshore. It's the same area where Jelly Belly goes and films his fucking walking videos at 6 o'clock in the morning. But that being said, no, it was I was torn going to this show in Chicago for multiple reasons. One of which being the venue has a very strict no firearms policy. So of course, they don't want you to be carrying a gun. Now, generally, I treat those policies the same way I treat every other thing that I think is kind of fucking stupid. And I say, well, when your magic sticker on the door stops my gun from getting through the door, I'll feel safe not having it on me. And now, granted, that's a little more risky to do in the state of Illinois. I because I this is one of those states where that if you get caught doing it, you're gonna wind up facing penalties and charges and fines and legal repercussions. My logic behind it, though, is I would rather be alive and fighting something in court than being remembered as a nice guy who followed all the fucking rules. So I tend to take a weathered eye towards that particular aspect of legality because gangbangers don't follow the law. Criminals don't follow the law. That's what makes them fucking criminals. And if you're going to follow the law and disarm yourself, in my belief, you are making yourself a fucking victim. You're not, doing yourself any fucking favors. It's just the simple. So I go to the show in Chicago and then I find myself on the horns of a dilemma. Do I take a piece and just leave it in the car, knowing that there's a possibility that my car is going to be broken into? Because at the end of the day, it's Chicago. It happens all the fucking time. And granted, if I have to leave a gun in the car, am I going to be happy with it, knowing even though I do have a lockbox tethered to the frame of my fucking car for exactly that reason, for when I do have those situations where I have to abandon my firearm. And the thing about it is, that's a temporary thing. Any well-prepared thief is getting a free gun out of the situation because they're going to cut the fucking tether cable and that'll be that. And, at the end of the day, I don't like that idea, particularly because then I was on the horns of another dilemma. I'm like, well, do I go and just hopefully I can get in the facility with a gun? And if I have to go back to the car, that actually bothers me more than the idea of leaving it locked in the car to begin with, because then you've actually telegraphed somebody that if anybody was like casing the parking lot, they see you go to the venue, come back, go back in your car, rummage around for a few minutes and then go back again. It reads as a little more sketch, and that means might be something in that car worth poking around and taking. So am I actually inviting further problems by doing so and taking the chance that I'm going to get wanded at the fucking venue and just say, well, maybe I'll just have to hope that whoever's coming after me just has a pokey thing and I'll take my own pokey thing. And I after a lot of hemming and hawing and deciding I would avoid any road rage incidents that might be an issue, I opted to not carry last night, which I'll be honest, I felt completely fucking exposed the entire time. Fortunately, I actually managed to get like Rockstar parking in terms of the venue. I was only like a block away because that was one of the few things I can say about that part of Chicago is everybody seems to forget, but the meters are turned off on Sundays. I forgot the meters were turned off on Sundays. I was fully prepared to pay through the fucking nose to have to pay to go to this show to park. And instead, when I was driving down the street towards the venue, I was about a block away and I saw somebody pull out from the curb and I was like, nope, mine. Nipped in there real quick, got Rockstar parking, didn't have to pay. Fucking yay, Aaron. But again, very exposed. Fortunately, it was a short walk from the venue to my car, so I didn't really worry too much about getting mugged, particularly not when I was coming out in a mob of like probably 2,500 fucking people. I'm definitely not the first target that anybody would have picked. But yeah, that being said, still didn't feel right, And I actually did make the right call because they were wanting people at the door, so I would have had to go back to the car and make a scene and blah blah blah. And I'm just better off having not done that. So that was my primary event of the weekend. That was my entertainment. Other than that, show news, show notes, show thoughts. I do have some things in the work right now. Have not got anything hammered down yet. I will be doing something really cool that will be coming up for anybody who is interested. This coming Saturday, if you want to be involved in the live recording of it, you still got time. Go sign up for the Razor Wire Substack. Get on that, get the behind the scene members access thing to the live stream of the live recording. I will be their first guest. I'm going to be there first. I'm going to try and be gentle. I'm going to try and be good. I'm going to try and not ruin the idea for anybody who may come after me that what a guest on a podcast should be. Um, and I told them as much when I was very honored that they said, Aaron, we'd like you to be our first. And, I take that responsibility seriously. So I will be stepping out of character and picking up a couple of beers for the show. They will be good beers. They will be craft beers. Not that drinking is out of character for Aaron, but I've over the recent years in my journey to try and be healthier, hard alcohol has less calories. So I'm more of a whiskey drinker. But for the sake of the show, I'm going to pick up a couple of badass microbrews from the local area here. And I will be partaking in that aspect of the show as well, where I will give my little beer reviews and hopefully people will enjoy it. So yeah, if you're not going to sign up, you cheap bastards, go ahead and catch that. It should be dropping next Monday. Really looking forward to it. Although I assume a good portion of my regular listeners already know to listen to Razor Wire and to follow them. And so this might be just kind of redundant. I don't imagine I'm going to be driving them a lot of new listeners at this point because I've told you multiple times in the past to fucking go listen to them. They do they do good work. They do actual news and actual reporting. It's not just ranty bitchy like you get from me with some half baked slightly checked facts in the process. Yeah, so that's on the agenda. I have started reaching out to some of the people that I told I was going to put a pin in guest episodes for a while, and started trying to get guests booked. So there will be there should hopefully be some new guest episodes dropping in the next few weeks. Should hopefully get a few more in before the end of the year, and then we'll see what next year has to bring. I'd like to start doing them on a much more regular basis. Howsoever, I've also noticed several of the people I've reached out to have not even bothered to answer me, which is a kind of rude, because it's not like I'm going after fucking actual like huge name celebrities, but social media people of presence, people I want to talk to. A couple of political figures I've shot at, like, hey, you miss all the shots you don't take, right? Gretzky said it. Gretzky was fucking right. And that's the way I'm approaching this. Is I'm taking the spaghetti approach. I'm throwing shit at the wall. I'm going to wait and see what sticks. And thus far, nothing's stuck. But, I also know the people I'm approaching are busy. It's not like they're going to be checking every single DM right away. And I'm sure a lot of these people probably have bookers and agents and all this other shit that I don't know how to deal with at this point. I haven't started researching, how to get a hold of, quote unquote influencers. I actually did kind of shoot a message to the lady who reached out to me about the dad bod veteran coming on my show, just to see who else she might possibly have available, that if there's anybody else I want to talk to. I haven't heard back yet, but who knows? Maybe something will come of that. Okay, this is a comment I have to address because, fuck's sakes, in the Zoom chat, which again you could be a part of if you crack open that wallet. Bruce says I should get JB on here. I don't really think I can get any kind of positive attention from JB Pritzker, that fat, worthless, bloated, jelly, pasty fuck muppet that we have as a governor here in this state. Yeah, he might have put me on a list of people that call him bad names on the internet, because that's realistically the only reason I can think I'd be getting all this attention from the state or the state treasurer or whoever it is that handles state taxes. But yeah, no, I don't think he would ever open himself to a situation where he'd have to deal with someone like me without a huge buffer in front of him. He does not go into hostile environments. He does not deal well with adversity. He's a fucking retard. He cannot he's not going to be able to function with somebody who's not going to let him lie to them. And we all know at this point, I ain't that fucking guy. So at the end of the day, I think I probably have a better chance of growing tits that actually produce milk than I have of ever getting any attention from him. So one of the big things, though, that has been popping off over the course of the weekend, and there's a lot going on. Don't get me wrong. You should probably go catch today's episode of Whiskey Hill, or I'm sorry, Razor Wire that came out. Why I keep defaulting back to, anyway, I don't know, three and a half years of saying that, I guess. But yeah, go to Razor Wire, go check out the episode. You'll get all the stuff that, actually, no, there was a ton of stuff and they didn't even get to all of it, but stuff worth talking about for sure. But yeah, one of the biggest things I I didn't social media a lot over the weekend, so I might be a little behind on some of the events, mostly because I was doing stuff around the house all day Saturday, and like I said, Sunday was spend a little time with the family, hang out for a little while, then drive to Chicago. Yeah, deal with nightmare traffic. I got to the venue. I literally got to my seat 3 minutes before the show was supposed to start, and I left my house like 2.5 hours before I was supposed to be there because traffic, even for a Sunday, was absolute shite. But anyway, back to what I was trying to say. One of the big things that's going on is, and we've touched on it a little bit. I think I touched on it a little bit at least, where Donald Trump has started his renovations on the ballroom. He is adding on to the East Wing of the White House. No, typical orange man bad. Everything he does is terrible. Blah blah blah. The left has been melting down and losing their shit and being just utterly fucking retarded. And there's a bunch of tweets and posts, or tweets, X's, posts, whatever. I mean, as I've said multiple times, my primary social media is X. I don't use a bunch of the other stuff for multiple reasons. I mean, I do a little bit, like, I send people obnoxious reels and try and fuck up their algorithms on Instagram. I use Facebook to keep hold of certain family members who, simply put, don't use any other form of social media. It's not the way we can get with them. So it is what it is. I'm not a huge Facebook person, but so most of my social media references are more like, they're based off of X, formerly known as Twitter, blah blah blah, whatever, because that's where I do most of my aggressive trolling and interaction with various figures, whether they be political or entertainment wise or anything. Anyway, but yeah, so to the point, Trump starts demolition, tears down the East Wing. Left starts losing their shit like he's wiping his ass with the Constitution, which someone literally said. Speaking of, people, it's like the fuck is that clown's name? Charlemagne, who I think is an utter fucking retard. And I don't know how he has I mean, other than the fact that he used to be, I guess he still has a radio show, but I mean, whatever. Guy's a fucking moron. He's a leftist twat. He's, I can't stand him. I mean, the only thing I give him credit to is occasionally he does get, people he doesn't agree with on there, and he'll be open-minded to at least let him talk. But anyway, he's sitting there talking about Trump's wiping his ass with the Constitution. Fucking how? I don't understand that mentality out of these people. And you got like fucking Hillary Clinton posting, oh, well, he's destroying your house. This cunt stole like $20,000 worth of furniture. She took literal fucking doorknobs when they left, and the fucking federal government had to go, you can't take that shit with you. You have to put it back. But of course, everything Hillary Clinton's account posts is private, so you can't respond to it. And so it just tons of quote tweets getting her extra traction. And like Chelsea Clinton, on the other hand, posted something, with comments on, because it's, and multiple people said exactly what Billy G said, where Trump should name it the Monica Lewinsky Ballroom and things like that. Now, I have thoughts on the matter. Trump's fucking egomaniac. He's going to name it the Trump Ballroom. He is. That's just all it is to deal with. So, yeah. So Trump starts the construction on this ballroom, and the left starts losing their minds. Like they're not the same assholes that tore down something like 2,700 fucking statues across the country over the last 4 years because they didn't like who the statues were to, or they were offensive, or they were memorializing colonizers, or they were memorializing criminals. And, the South lost, get over it. And just all the retarded rhetoric that comes out of these fucking woke retards. And so that these same bunch of people, without the slightest hint of irony or fucking, self-awareness, will come out, oh my God, he's doing this. He's just destroyed. And just, liberal retard noises. That's all. It's what my brain hears every time I see one of these fucking posts. And it's like, they don't understand their own hypocrisy because they're not self-aware enough to process this shit. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. They're all fucking hypocrites. They're all fucking retarded. They're all fucking self-important, smug, fart-sniffing sacks of shit who somehow don't really think that it's bad when their side does it. I mean, again, literally the definition of fucking hypocrite, right? They don't have a problem with the act. They have a problem with who's fucking committing it. And that's it. I mean, the amount of money Trump is theoretically spending on this ballroom is roughly the same as what Obama cost the taxpayers for his fucking basketball court. Nobody talks about that shit. The basketball court Obama put in, it's not like he just had him pour some fucking concrete out in the yard and called it good and put up 2 hoops. It was $347 million taxpayer funded to install the Obama basketball court. Crickets out of these motherfuckers. Silence. They don't have a fucking thought in their heads because nobody told them to. So, like I said, I don't take what they have to say about things too much. And this is the distraction that they put out there every time something comes up, which brings me to the next thing I want to talk about, which is all the fucking retards, because the first is looming. It will be Saturday this week, which, by the way, Halloween coming. Happy Halloween. Buy candy, give it to kids. Encourage diabetes in the next generation. This is the way. If somebody shows up in a homemade costume, give them something extra for putting in the effort. Fuck it. But not to sidetrack myself. So with the end of the month coming up and SNAP and EBT benefits set to expire for a huge portion of the country, what is it? 16% of the country or whatever it is that's on EBT. They're all sitting there. And I talked about this a little bit already, where you've got these fucking retards out there in the EBT community recording things, TikToks, Instagram reels, whatever social media, because again, we live in a time where people don't know how to be fucking, quiet. It's everybody thinks they're the main character. Everybody thinks people give a shit about their fucking opinions. And I'm understanding that, I'm saying that as someone who's doing a live stream and a podcast that is purely me voicing my opinions. So, am I any different than these assholes? Yes, I fucking am, because I'm better than them, because I'm not sitting here doing this retarded shit with any kind of intention where it's like, oh, look, I'm important and I'm relevant. No, I do that. I've said this so many times. I do this shit for me. I love that you guys want to come along and listen to the show. I love it that you want to be involved and you guys want to give me feedback and you talk to me. I've made some great friends because of this podcast. People I consider my friends anyway. I mean, yeah, we may have never met in real life, but I consider you guys my people. At the same time, if none of you motherfuckers were here, I would still be doing this shit. You know how? Because that's how I got started, was nobody fucking knew I existed, and I was still putting out the episodes because I needed to do it. I needed to get it off my chest. I need the catharsis. I need the fucking release. I need to not commit felonies to do this shit. So, here I sit. But I say all of that, again, like I said, without the slightest hint of irony. I'm giving you guys my opinion, talking about dumb motherfuckers going out online, giving you your opinions. You know what the difference is? I'm not sitting in a car screaming and having an emotional meltdown. And I'm not sitting in my home issuing proclamations about how I deserve shit that I never worked for and I never earned and I never fucking did a goddamn thing other than fucking exist. But the world owes me something. Like, I'm not out here trying to say that, and I've seen some fucking doozies, and I feel like some of them have to be staged. But, the other part of me is, it may not actually be a case of being staged, because one thing I've gotten to the point is, like, I never underestimate the entitlement and stupidity of fucking people anymore. There was a time where I would have looked at some of these videos and been like, this has to be rage bait. This has to be people doing it for clicks. This has to be satire. And then I realized we live in the stupid ages. We live in a time where satire is a lost art. Nuance is lost on these fucking retards. There are not people out there, well, there are, but they're few and far between, that are out there using language to craft and hone ideas into razor fine points with, saying things that they know are going to make you think in the name of fucking getting you to a conclusion that's not what they're saying, but it's where they want you to go. There's not a lot of people out there doing that anymore. There may be a few. I mean, I could probably pull it off if I really sat down and dedicated my time and honed my craft. Not to be immodest, not saying I'm hot shit. I'm just saying I am one of the people I think that could probably pull it off. And who knows, maybe I do. Maybe that's why some of the rants come out of my mouth the way they do, because I'm trying to get you to a place that may not necessarily be where I'm going, but I want you to start thinking for yourself and come to the conclusion that I'm shaping and steering you towards. the majority of these videos that I've seen, I don't think that's the case in the fucking slightest. I think it is whiny, spoiled, entitled shit rags who somehow think their shit don't stink, somehow think they deserve all the fucking gifts, all the fucking credit. I saw a guy who was literally saying, because he was told he has to go out and work 20 hours a week. And that was the one that really actually broke me. And you guys have probably seen this one. The guy says to get his maintain his EBT benefits, he has to work 20 hours a week. And he says, who the fuck am I going to look like going to work? I don't work. The fucking taxpayers work for me. You motherfuckers have to help me feed my kids. You motherfuckers owe this to me. I've been on EBT for years. And what am I going to look like going out and getting a job? Fuck you. I'm a boss. First off, if you're living on handouts, you're not a boss. Nobody with more than 2 fucking brain cells thinks they're a boss if they're living at the whim of society. You're not a baller. You're not a chief. You're not a boss. You're a piece of shit. You're a fucking parasite. You're a tick. You're a bloated, worthless person-shaped tick. Your children ain't going to be shit either. Because there was a time where I used to be optimistic, like kids would look at their parents and want to do better. But then I realized, like with my generation and the generations before us, that was because our parents wanted us to do better. Our parents weren't shaped with the mindset that somebody owes us this shit and we should, the goal is to be a non-contributing piece of fucking shit. And again, we have an entire culture that has grown up in this country in the last generation or two that thinks exactly that way. I mean, it used to be you would talk some shit to people because they were broke. Now all of a sudden these motherfuckers act like it's a flex. When you have fat fucks out there complaining that they're not going to be able to feed their families when they're obviously high calorie Americans, when there are motherfuckers who are out there that weigh more than me, when it's people that are fucking, you see these people, and I feel like it's almost got to be deliberate, but I don't have that much faith in the people doing it. The lazy, entitled fat shits are like, here, watch me ring out my 4 grocery carts worth of shit and pay with EBT. Hey, no, those hood rat motherfuckers, the fucking trailer trash, the fucking ghetto pieces of shit that are doing that shit. They are the ones, they drank the Kool-Aid. They bought the lie. They think winning is not having to be a fucking adult. They think winning is having shit handed to them by the government because the government took it from people who earned it to give it to people who didn't. The communist shit that I can't fucking stand because communists aren't people. Pinochet did nothing wrong. If you don't get that reference, you're probably listening to the wrong show. Or you could take some initiative, Google it, and figure out what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm going to try and make up some merchandise and get Jason to put that on a shirt or something for me, or at least a mug. And I'm going to have one sitting on my desk and let people ask me what it fucking means. But I digress. So we have these lazy, worthless, sorry sacks of shit that are out here having a fit that they're going to lose their fucking EBT because October was covered. November's not. Government's still shut down. Programs are still fucking closed. It's horrible. It's all these poor people are just gonna have to, how am I gonna feed my kids? How am I supposed to live? You got fucking retarded pieces of shit out there. Food is a basic right. No, the fuck it's not. Sorry to tell you this, you stupid piece of shit, but food is not a basic human right. It's a basic human necessity. Rights stop at the point where someone else has to do something for you to get that. Unless you're growing your own food, milling your own grain, raising your own livestock, raising your own produce, you have to have someone that has the skill and the ability and the knowledge and the resources to do that for you to have access to that food. If you're not out there hunting it yourself, you are not engaging in a right. You don't have a right to anyone else's labor, period. I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't care where the fuck you live. I don't care what your fucking excuse is. Nothing that requires the labor of another person is a fucking human right. Full stop. That goes for medical. That goes for food. That goes for education. That goes for all of it. You're not entitled to anyone else's labor. That's slavery. And I'm not okay with that. If you need this explained to you like you're a fucking infant, the system has failed you and you are completely dependent on it. And that's exactly what they wanted. They have created an entirely dependent parasite class that they can weaponize like they're doing right the fuck now, because you have all these hood rats and white trash out there recording themselves with videos saying, if they cut off my EBT, we stealing everything. And if you try and stop us, we gonna throw hands. You gonna catch one. Don't think I won't pop you over these groceries. Literally the lowest common denominator of our fucking society coming out in force, trying to intimidate, cajole, and threaten the general population of normal, decent people who are out there just maintaining their lives, trying to work. Because the government is not intimidated by any of these worthless fucking sacks of shit. There's not a single politician that hears some hood rat posting a video saying they out there and they gonna be stealing Thanksgiving dinner that gives a nickel plated fuck about it. It doesn't impact them. And matter of fact, most of them probably fucking want it. They want people to be out here rioting, causing trouble, stealing shit because it's going to allow them to put legislation in place to seize more power, to take more control, and to dominate society more than they already are. There was a time where I would have thought that sounded tinfoil hat conspiracy theory nuts. That time is well past. I believe that is the fucking game plan, particularly when you have liberal politicians. I already forgot the bitch's name, and since I'm not, I'm not razor wire, I don't have my shit together. I don't have show notes. I can't think of it off the top of my head. There was a politician, a Democratic politician, who literally referred to people losing their balances as the only leverage they have, and they need to use it. That's they're saying the quiet part out loud, and 99% of the fucking retards that are being manipulated don't have the common sense to understand it. And the ones that do understand it don't care because they're fucking entitled and lazy and they still want their free shit. Now, do I feel bad for like the kids that through no fault of their own were born to worthless, shiftless, lazy motherfucking parents who are going to be, possibly not getting their food? To a certain extent, yeah. But at the same time, again, I'm sorry, kid. Life sucks. Get a fucking helmet. Do better. Use this as motivation to be a better human being than your failure fucking parents were. It's cold. It's callous. It's a mean thing to say. You know what? I'm a cold, callous motherfucker. I don't care if it's mean. I don't care if it hurts people's feelings. I don't care. It's the fucking truth. Sometimes you have to excise cancer, and it's a painful process. When you're fucking morbidly obese, if you don't want to die, you got to lose weight, and it sucks. You know how I know? Ask me how I know. Because I'm dealing with it. I was literally the definition of morbidly obese. I was having heart failure, which was actually contributory to the obesity. But again, that without going into my whole fucking medical history, because I don't want to make you guys have to sign a HIPAA release to watch this fucking episode. The simple fact of the matter is, just because it's hard, just because it's unpleasant, just because it's not a fun thing, because it's not something you want to do, doesn't mean you shouldn't fucking have to. And, I'm a big believer in like voluntarism. It's a concept, libertarian concept, like people will help each other out when asked because people are kind of good as a rule. There is not, I firmly believe there is not a single thing in creation that the free market, that capitalism, that individuals that are not pieces of shit can do better than the government. Oh, and Kate, yes, actually, the fuck I can. I'm sorry. I hate to say this, but well, no, I don't hate to say it. Yeah, I can actually tell an 8-year-old too bad. Look, kid, I'm sorry. I feel terrible for you. Your parents are pieces of shit. I'm sorry they don't have the soul to do right by you. Sucks. Too bad. So sad. Yes, I can. Because and I may lose some people on this one. Again, it happens. I'm going to get over it. At the end of the day, I refuse to say, well, just because people exist, they have a right to, when they don't. Again, you can disagree all you want. I'm sorry. It doesn't change a fucking thing. That's how I feel about it. And that's just that you do you. I'm not going to ask you to go out and be a cold, callous person that tells 8-year-olds they can't have their fucking chicken nuggies because mom and dad are lazy pieces of shit. That's your right as a human to not have to do that. Howsoever, again, I don't personally believe that anyone has a right to take from me to forcibly give to another person, because that's not kindness. That's not goodness. That's theft. I don't care which way you fucking slice it. Again, because you don't have a right to other people's labor. You don't have a right to other people's property. You have a right to go out and try and get those things for your fucking self. Keyword being go out and get them. And that doesn't mean going out and robbing the fucking grocery store because they cut your fucking link card off. That means go out, get a fucking job like the rest of us have to, and fucking earn it. And if you're too irresponsible to handle having kids, you shouldn't be getting paid extra for fucking and squirting out more of them. The system is disgusting because it's created to make exactly this scenario a thing. It's utterly retarded that we're in this position. And again, like I said, we've got all these morons out here talking shit, recording themselves, threatening to commit felonies, telling people they're going to, if you try and get in the way of me stealing and being a freeloading piece of shit, I'm going to commit violence upon you. Well, I really hope for their sake, when they decide to commit those acts of violence, you know, I hope that they wind up getting arrested, because at the rate we're going right now, it's go there's going to be this is going to be one of those boiling points. You're going to have some entitled fucking retard that is emboldened by social media telling him that everybody's going to be doing this shit, because I promise you, we live in a society of cultivated fucking idiots that believe what they see on their fucking phones and their tablets and their fucking computers is the real fucking world. It's not. I hate to disillusion the people who might think differently, but at the end of the day, the social media shit, it's cultivated, it's crafted. The algorithms show you things they want you to see. The fucking things that get amplified and boosted are based on fucking influencing outcomes, influencing opinions, influencing ideas. Anybody that tries to tell you something differently is trying to sell you something that probably doesn't fucking work. And we have, and again, I believe this is deliberate through, the fucking, the Department of Education deliberately lowering standards, between teachers being not worth a fucking shit because all the ones that were good were driven out by the bureaucracy, and the ones that remain are willing to push the fucking narrative. So we have an educational system that's failing students. We have entire cities that are failing to put out students that can test at level. Chicago, prime example. I don't think there's a single school that actually put out students that were testing at level for like junior high into high school. But the CTA's budget is in the billions, and it's all goes to bureaucracy and waste and fraud. And we have teachers in Chicago making six figures that don't have kids that know how to fucking read, because the teachers unions make sure they get fucking paid. And it's fucking ridiculous. But it's, like I said, it's deliberate, it's cultivated. And the problem is, now you've got these fucking retards that are seeing videos of all these morons. And, I think some of these fucking idiots probably will think they're entitled to go out and steal shit when the time comes. When they don't get their EBT, they're going to say, well, I need to eat. I'm going to go out and steal this shit, and nothing's going to happen to me. And part of it goes back into that whole everybody and their mother has fucking main character syndrome that I keep bringing up. And most of us don't realize we're not the fucking main character to anybody except ourselves. And then part of it'll be the fact that these retards think that's going to be a justifiable excuse. What was I supposed to do? You cut off my free shit. How am I supposed to feed my kids? How you're supposed to feed your kids is supposed to be a you fucking problem, not a societal fucking problem. So again, that's kind of on you. At the end of the day, you still have, you're responsible for your actions. I know responsibility hits a lot of people like fucking holy water on a vampire, but responsibility is still supposed to be a fucking thing. And granted, the left has been doing everything they could, between fucking permissive judges and retarded legislation, to try and remove accountability from fucking criminals. So the only people that actually have to worry about the impact of fucking crime is the fucking law abiding, not the actual criminals who do this, because frankly, we're represented by criminals, and that's a whole nother tirade I could go off on, but I'm not going to. So we have leftist retards out here talking about, we're going to loot, we're going to rob, we're going to steal, we're going to take what we want, and fuck you people, you can't do anything to stop us because you fucking owe us, you deserve us, we are entitled, we are the parasite class, we are the privileged, we are the special, we are the few, I'm not working for shit and I don't have to because fuck you. And every other stupid fucking thing that comes out of these retards fucking mouths, because none of them can fucking read at a fucking third grade level. So I feel perfectly comfortable saying they're fucking retarded. I've said it a million times. Retard isn't what you call somebody with a legitimate disability. Retard is what you call stupid motherfuckers. Now, like I said, to exasperate that, we have the left deliberately using the government shutdown that is causing this situation. And I really believe they're doing it. Like I said, it's deliberate. They're fanning the fire. They're trying to get extra people worked up. They want these problems. And like I said, the problem's going to come when you have some dumb motherfucker who's going to say, I saw on TikTok that we're stealing on the first because shit's free because we don't have EBT and they ain't going to do nothing, and whatever other retarded shit they're going to come out with to try and justify their lawlessness, their fucking depravity, their failure as a human being. And like I said, at some point, one of these retards is going to fuck around in the wrong place. Somebody's going to say something to him. He's going to cop a fucking attitude, or she, I should say. I should not make this a gender specific thing. He or she is going to swing an attitude and think they are going to be rolling up on somebody who said something to them that's just going to back down. And that's another problem. We, again, whiny, permissive society, people's taught not to, people taught to avoid conflict. People taught that they don't have to interject or interact or intervene or do anything. But people that somehow seem to think somebody else is going to fix the problem. That's another thing. And even in the people that are law-abiding citizens that aren't going to be out there bitching because they're parasites, a huge portion of us working class people don't like, a lot of people don't like confrontation. A lot of people try to avoid conversation. A lot of people say, I hate that this is going on, but somebody else needs to handle it. And that's part of the problem too. But at some point, one of these low-life EBT community motherfuckers is going to roll up on somebody who's like me, that's fed up, and somebody that's going to be angry enough, and somebody that's going to say something to them. And, I generally, depending on the circumstances, if I'm like out in an official capacity doing something for work, I'll try and be professional, keep my mouth shut. If I'm out with my family, I don't want problems to blow back on them. I'll keep my mouth shut sometimes. I mean, now granted, I am not as concerned when my wife's involved in the picture because, she's got a tendency to open her mouth too. But at the end of the day, if it looks like it's going to be a problem, it's going to be, okay, you stay over there, don't get involved, which I know she won't listen because it's ride or die is ride or die. But at the end of the day, if I say something to you and I'm not, physically trying to restrain you, and you decide you're going to take a poke at me because of what I said, at that point, the gloves come off. I'm not going to stop and say, well, since they decided to upscale to escalate the situation here into violence, they're going to win. No, if you decide to escalate with me, my general policy is I'm going to match that energy plus 10%, and I'm going to keep adding 10% until the situation's diffused, either by you giving up or being fucking unconscious. Or, I mean, worst case scenario, I'd hate to say it, but knock on wood, it never comes to that. I'm going home at the end of the day. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to either be alive to answer for the consequences or, taking a few people with me. At the end of the day, I'm either going to be I'd rather be judged than fucking buried. And, that's, like I said, but I'm not going to go out of my way looking for trouble. You're going to get people out there that are going out of their way looking for trouble. There are people that have been waiting for shit to boil over. There are degenerate lowlives on the other side of the fucking spectrum. When you got the lowlife parasite motherfuckers that are waiting for an excuse to be fucking criminal pieces of shit because they deserve free shit. On the other side of that coin, you got a bunch of self-righteous motherfuckers who, yeah, they're out there, they're working, they're doing their part, they're contributing to society, they pay their taxes, they go to church, they say their prayers, they eat their vitamins, they do the things that they're supposed to do so they can feel self-righteous about themselves. But deep down in their core, they're still flawed. They're still missing something, and they're waiting for an excuse to escalate some shit. They are waiting for shit to get out of hand because they feel like it's going to justify all that horrific shit they've got suppressed because they're excited about it. They're looking forward to it. They want to do some bad shit to people, and they're just looking for a justification themselves. And I'm not okay with that either, which may surprise some people. I mean, I believe in righteousness. I don't believe in fucking, just violence for the sake of violence. I believe violence needs to be applied fortuitously and justly to any situation. All that to say this, the fact that this is being marched around as, Republican failing, Republican failing, Republican failing, it's Trump shut down by every yammering leftist sack of shit out there. And the general refutal from the other side is, well, we need 60 votes to pass the legislation, and not a single one of you fuckstains is willing to vote with us to get this done. We only have 53 votes, and we can't do anything about it. Now, for those of you who are, let me bring you up to speed here. To pass a resolution in the Senate, it requires a 60-vote majority, i.e. the filibuster. If they don't have the 60-vote majority, it is assumed that the other party will just run their mouths and avoid the fucking bill so they don't have to actually get resolution. So for resolution of a bill, it requires 60 votes. The Republican majority in Congress, in the Senate, is not actually a supermajority. It is only 53 to 47. So without an additional 7 votes, actually 8 votes, because there's a couple of Republicans who aren't going to vote to pass the CR because they don't want it. They are going to need an additional 7 votes. And that's if every Republican votes yay to reopening the government. They still need 7 Democrats to cross the aisle and vote to reopen the government. The Democrats, with one exception, and that's, fucking Fetterman. I don't know. I never would have guessed he was going to be the guy. I was going to be like, you know what? I like this fucking guy. But at the end of the day, Fetterman's the one who's sitting there going, we're failing our constituents. We are not doing our fucking jobs. We need to be reasonable. We need to get this rolling. And it needs to be a case of this is what's going to happen. And right now it ain't. Yeah, we have all these liberal retards who are pandering to the morons that are out here talking about rioting and stealing shit, and they're going to fuck up society because they're not getting free shit anymore. And every last one of them is trying to blame this on the Republicans. It's the Republicans' fault. And it's the same, horror story. Oh my God, the world's going to fucking end, and it's all the other guys' fault bullshit that is easily disprovable. But they have a cultivated society of fucking retards that aren't going to look any further than whatever they're being fed by whatever their chosen source of information is. So they're going to go, oh yeah, Republicans bad. Republicans don't want me to get free shit. Republicans don't want me to have, Republicans don't feel bad that my kids are going to go hungry. Well, no, they feel bad, but they also can't really fucking do anything about it. And today, actually, to a certain extent, a fun new tool in debunking that came to light, because literally the largest federal employees union in the fucking country, which I don't think federal employees should be allowed to unionize, but that's a whole nother conversation. But the federal employee union came out and said that they expect the Democrats to fucking end this shit, because they even acknowledge that it is on the left for refusing to fucking cooperate. Now, granted, the retards are going to be out there looting on Saturday if they think they're entitled to. They're not going to know that. They're not going to find out. They're going to continue to, get their information from whatever fucking source they get their information from, and they're going to continue to be fucking wrong. So there's only so much we can do about that. I mean, it's ridiculous, and it's a shame that the world has gotten to be this state. There are real simple things we could do to resolve this. I've talked about it before. Term limits. Fucking the Senate doesn't get a fucking golden parachute when they fucking leave the Senate. You don't get lifetime benefits. You don't get lifetime paychecks. You go in, you do your service, you get the fuck out, and you go back to the real world so you can actually deal with the consequences of the shit you pulled while you were in office. But that's not going to happen either. I'm at the point where I have no illusions about the way the world works anymore. I am a disgruntled human being. I am jaded. I am bitter. I think pretty much everybody fucking sucks because we allowed it to get to this point. And I'm the grand royal sweeping we, American society, suicidal empathy, and retarded motherfuckers who want further and further dependency to exist. The people who say, yeah, I shouldn't have to worry about where my education is going to come from. I shouldn't have to worry about where my next meal is going to come from. All the driving factors that pushed humanity for the last, fucking 2,000 years to continue to strive and grow and achieve and change and succeed and flourish around the world. Innovation and creation. None of that shit is fostered by a fucking parasite society ever. And it's ridiculous to me that we've allowed it to get to this point. It's even further ridiculous to me that there are fucking people out there who actually believe this shit. That's the thing I keep coming back to. I don't understand how these fucking idiots think the world is going to be like, oh, here, yeah, no, I'm going to get taken care of because I exist. I deserve to have things because I exist. Do I contribute equivalent to what I think I get? Not at all, but why should I have to? That's not fair. I shouldn't have to be a useful contributory member of society. Society owes me for the fucking simple fact that I'm here. And realistically, sorry, that's not the way the fucking world works. And anybody who thinks it is the way the world works or it's the way the world should work is, again, probably not a real worthy human being in the first fucking place. I don't see a lot of super fucking contributory motherfuckers. I don't see people out there pushing the envelope and driving innovation and driving new things that also seem to think they shouldn't have to work for that shit. It's the two mentalities are literally mutually exclusive. The people that think they deserve something for nothing fucking irritate me. I'm sorry. To address, Kate said, she doesn't think she disagrees that it's, you can't tell an 8-year-old that they're starving because their parents are pieces of shit. Well, maybe if the kids looked at mom and dad and said, why don't you love me enough to fucking take care of me, things would change. But again, we're going to have to disagree on that one, because well, I feel bad for them. I'm not without empathy. I'm not without sympathy. At the end of the day, doesn't mean shit. Because again, I don't think their parents are entitled to be lazy pieces of shit. It sucks that they're suffering because of it. It sucks that they have to live a shittier life because of it. But that is not my responsibility, and it's not my fucking problem. I've got enough of my own shit to worry about. I still got bills up to my fucking nipples. I've still got fucking debt out my fucking ears. I still have fucking to pay for gas. I still have to fucking go to work every day so these worthless parasite motherfuckers can get their free shit. Because you can't just have a society where nobody does shit, or else there's nothing to steal to give to the lazy motherfuckers. And if you want to talk about fairness, you want to bitch and whine about, oh, well, it's not fair that these people are suffering. Well, you know what's not fair is that they're living for nothing while I'm out here doing shit 50, 60 fucking hours a week to live a lower quality of life than some piece of shit that only occupation is getting knocked up by different ain't shit people that have squirt out kids that the fucking fathers don't support because they're not actually fathers, they're just fucking sperm donors. And meanwhile, society's expected to fucking foster and raise their fucking children. No, it's not fucking right. It may not be fair that these kids are in that situation. It may not be just or righteous or anything else, but it's also the fucking way it is. It's not fair to expect other people to take responsibility for your shit. That includes not being able to fucking use contraception or not fuck. It's really not that complicated. Plenty of people are out there not fucking every day, not by choice, but just because that's the way it works. If you can't handle the responsibilities that may come with sex, you got no business fucking. The end. You're not entitled to a right to get laid either. I hate to break it to you, you ain't shit motherfuckers that don't know how to fucking wrap it up and don't know how to fucking pull out. Hey, Ken, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live. Glad you're here. Let's see. When will I get my mustache back? Start growing it back on Saturday. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Cody. Every year I do the No Shave November, the Movember, if you will. I'll try and remember to stick the social media link things on there. It's for awareness and fundraising and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, actually, good time to throw a shameless plug in there for all your motorcycle needs. Go to Zero 3D, and for all your art needs, go to Mad K Studios, madkstudios.com, where you can get all your finest tiki themed merchandise. Shameless plug. Get Ken to do some art for you. The dude's really fucking talented. I've told you this before. I've given away some of his pieces. I've got to do another giveaway. I've still got a couple of fine motor themed art pieces that I was going to do a giveaway for him for an episode number or something. I don't remember what the theory was, but I was going to do it, and I haven't done it yet because I'm a jackass. And honestly, wait till we see the 2025 coloring book. Can't wait. It's going to be fucking phenomenal, just like all of them. I do have my Ken Madden. Well, you can't see them. They're over there. Maybe when I get a better camera, or not a better camera, but a different camera, wide angle camera, so I can do multi-angles when I'm taking the streaming a little more seriously, where I do have my Mad K coloring books and my little book holder thing on the wall over there, because sometimes I need to color. I can't really say it's a thing where, contrary to popular belief, I don't use crayons when I'm coloring. I use colored pencils because I like shading and texture, and you can't really get good shading and texture with crayons. Yeah, Ken is one of the regulars on the Weathered View morning X spaces we do, which will also show you. Smart dude, really is. All right. Well, Billy G's saying goodnight, which I'll take that as my sign to say, all right, guys. And for now, that's what I had to say.